Oh, hello. You caught me deep in thought about introversion and extroversion. And being an empath. So there's a million blogs on Elephant about how to deal with being an empath and how to deal with being an introvert. And I don't think there's any blogs about how to deal with being an extrovert, which is its own challenge. Extroverts tend to perhaps not examine their own experience quite as much because we're projecting out and trying to fill the whole of space. So to me, and I know many people out there will disagree, and I respect your disagreement, the whole introvert-extrovert dichotomy is a bit of a myth. Both are true, but I think all of us are human beings, fundamentally, and we all have both aspects. Maybe some of us have 99.9% introversion or 90% extroversion or 50-50. But I would challenge people out there who everyone sort of laughs kind of condescendingly at me when I talk about this and says, you're an extrovert, what do you know? Introverts, we think, have, like extroverts, still waters, introverts, waters run deep. There's a notion that introverts have a lot of depth and a lot of wonderfulness, and that could be true. And extroverts are kind of like clowns, and that could be true. But clowns can be sad and have feelings, and introverts can be just as selfish and kind of shallow as any of us. The trick with both is to examine our own experience deeply and sincerely with an eye toward being a benefit. So whatever our nature is, we can use it to be a benefit, or we can just kind of get wrapped up in it. So an extrovert can take advantage of his or her enjoyment in being big and loud and la la la, and they can just be obnoxious, and they can just kind of make other people feel small. That's sort of taking advantage of your nature. Well, that's not helpful, and that's not fun. I have a friend who, whenever we're out socially, he's very extroverted and everyone loves him for that, but it can also make other people feel small, and it's a problem even for him. He knows his friends have a hard time hanging in there with his big, loud energy. And introverts often can kind of judge others. Whenever we're lonely and we're wrapped up in that introversion, we can kind of judge other people who are happy as somehow being less than us, less profound. There's this notion that great artists have to be neurotic. Not that neurosis and introversion is the same thing. So here's what I would say. In my personal experience, which is really the only thing I can offer, is I am known for being an extrovert, but at least half the time I'm an introvert, and nobody sees that part of me because I'm being introverted. I'm being at home. I'm a Cancer. I was born in July, if you believe in that stuff. But I do believe in being a homebody. Like half the time it recharges my batteries. I do get tired putting stuff out there. So the way to not get tired putting stuff out there, or not kind of get depressed in our introversion, to not get tired or depressed by either aspect, is really to regard both as sort of weather. And our fundamental nature, again, is the sky, is the open sky. So one thing I love to do, because in junior high, I was a big nerd, a big prideful nerd, and very lonely and kind of a wallflower sometimes. I had skipped a grade, so I was away from all my friends, and I was just sort of this like isolated deer in the back of the herd that would have got picked off by all the wolves, the ninth graders. And so now that I'm, people think I'm cool, or some people think I'm cool. I'm obviously still not cool, but some people think I am. Now I really enjoy and revel in finding those people at a party who are clearly wanting to connect but are feeling lonely or out of place. And I think that's a wonderful, mindful task for all of us. When you're at a party, don't just try and be cool. Don't just try and fit in. Try and reach out to the people who maybe are clearly not finding their comfort. So Peggy Markell is a dear friend of mine, a slow food chef. We have some videos with her. She's the all-time greatest dinner party host, and it's because she regards the entire dinner party as sort of, links of a chain, and a dinner party is only as happy as the weakest or the loneliest or the least happy chain. So many times I didn't grow up with much of a family. I would feel very out of place in dinner parties. I don't know how to interact with the family dynamic. And I would kind of sit in my corner and kind of be awkward and just miserable. and she would reach out to me and kind of warm me up and introduce me around. So let's all try and do that with people. I also am horrible at traveling and not knowing anybody. I can get really isolated and wrapped up. And I think that goes back to maybe my junior high experience. Who knows? We're not here for self-therapy of myself. I would not pay myself $85 an hour to give therapy 101 to myself. But my point is just that it's important for all of us to remember that extroverts may actually be introverted inside, and introverts can be warmed up and introduced and kind of relax out of that. Not that anything's wrong with introversion or extroversion. And then finally, how to deal with being an empath. So empath is short, obviously, for empathy, empathetic. That is a wonderful thing. So it can be really challenging to be an empath because you feel too much. You're too, quote unquote, too sensitive. But it's actually a wonderful thing. So in the Shambhala tradition, Chogyam Trungpa, a Buddhist teacher, talks about how a warrior is someone who is strong and grounded, and yet she or he always has his or her heart open to the world, raw, so raw and open that the slightest breeze tickles it. So my advice for being an empath would be to not try and get away from it, but rather to back up that raw, open, beautiful heart with that sensitivity, with a strong spine, being grounded. So from a Buddhist tradition, you would simply reconnect with the solidity of the earth, the vision and the brilliance and the openness of the sky, and take a deep breath in your heart. It's actually a practice. Reconnect with the solidity and the richness of the earth, the openness and the vision, the brilliance, the vision of the heavens above, and then connect both in your heart and breathe deeply into that empathy. There's a meditation practice called Tonglen, which can also help reverse the flow of ego. So ego is always trying to push away discomfort and cling to anything we want. So Tonglen reverses that and actually offers comfort and accepts and breathes in and breathes through difficulty. As Winston Churchill said, the only way out of difficulty or intense feeling is through. So I hope that's somewhat helpful. We'll link to Tonglen on Elephant Journal. You can search Tonglen, Elephant Journal, and read about it. It's incredibly helpful to work through too much feeling, too much sensitivity. And we have thousands of blogs about being an introvert and one or two probably at most about being an extrovert. So thank you so much. I hope this was moderately helpful.